Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra, back with one more bonus video of my greatest results-getting methods to help you quickly transform your business into the success you've always dreamed it could be. These are the same tools and techniques that I and many of the most recognizable national brands have successfully used to quickly build our business, and now you can too. In this video, I'm going to let you in on even more behind-the-scenes tips and tools from my Main Street Millionaires book series. I'm going to share with you some of the most profitable business building strategies and give you another short course. However, this time the topic is how to get more traffic into your business using some of my most successful techniques so you can get in front of a lot more people who want to buy your products and services without laying out a lot of cash, and instead using the resources that are already available to you while getting massive results. Before we get moving too quickly, I want to stop and offer a big thank you again. There have been so many amazing, encouraging, insightful, and enthusiastic comments and questions about all three videos. I want you to know that your words are absolutely the fuel that keeps me motivated and inspired to create even more tools for your business success. So thank you so very much. Now, believe it or not, I read each of your comments, and just like before, you've had some pretty specific questions about creating a more profitable business, and as it happens, I can help. So before I start the short course on how to get more traffic into your business, I want to take a minute and tell you about a real-life story of one of my clients and how he turned his business and financial future around in just a matter of days by creating an event. Just a short time ago, he found himself about 45 days from being out of business. Now that's all the cash he had left before he would have to close his restaurant and bar for good. And because he had not obeyed my cardinal rule of not taking on debt and using your own assets to fund your business, he was also in danger of losing his home. Because he had virtually no capital and very little time left, I had him get creative. Now remember, the most effective marketing tools and techniques are usually free or at least very low cost. And this technique is one that any business can use, no matter if you sell a product or a service or even an online business. The principles are the same and work for any type of business. So on with the story. I suggested that he pick a Friday night, about 2 or 3 weeks away, and start telling the customers that did come in he was going to have a very special event in his restaurant in just a couple of weeks. Seating would be limited and by reservation only. The reservation list was full in just 72 hours after the chef and I had first spoken. Now, because he was in the food industry and that organics are one of the things that people have not cut back on during this recession, I suggested that my client, the chef, take some time and visit his local farmer's market to see if there was a local farmer that sold organic food. Well, sure enough, he found a farmer who was also struggling to expand his market base, even though the quality of his food was exceptional. The farmer's market was on a Thursday, which meant that the farmer was going home with a lot of fresh organic food and no place to sell it until the next week. By that time, it would have been spoiled. My suggestion was that my client, the chef, and the farmer team up and help each other out to mutually bolster each other's business. Now, here are the keys to this story. Both shared a common customer base. Both were in the same industry, but neither was directly competitive with the other. Both were potentially dependent on the other as supplier and vendor. You could call it a symbiotic relationship. I'm sure you could think of a few for your own business. The farmer supplied the organic food for the event that he'd not sold the day before at the market to the chef, along with a small card for each table. On each card was a short marketing message for the farmer and his contact information. The chef called the local press and invited them to cover the event with one caveat. Whoever arrived first with the camera crew would get an amazing and exclusive opportunity to come inside to cover the event, which included access to the kitchen and personal interviews with the chef and the organic farmer. I also suggested to my client, the chef, that using his own marketing message, he contact the local civic organizations and let them know about his special event and ask them to pass on the word to their local members. Now, as a rule, civic clubs tend to be very supportive of their own, so use this as a good resource for publicity for your own event. The day of the event, all 3 local television stations showed up with the camera crews. 5 hours early in an attempt to be the first to get the exclusive story, which became a story in and of itself. The night was such a success that after their expenses, the chef and the farmer made enough money that they decided to do it all over again the very next night. In just 48 hours, using just a few of my business success principles, the chef and the organic farmer made enough money to cover their business expenses for the next few months, and went from being a small restaurant and local organic farm that nobody had heard of to one of the hottest places in town that everyone was talking about. The demand for the farmer's goods has been so great that he has now opened a fruit, herb, and vegetable market at his farm on the days of the week he's not at the farmer's market. The chef partnered with someone who shared his customer base but was not a competitor. He created an event at his place of business that was mutually beneficial to himself, his partner the farmer, and their shared customer base. The chef used resources that were available at no cost, and in the case of the farmer, would go to waste if not used. The chef used the 3 motivating factors to get the local press to cover the event: scarcity, that another station would beat them out of the exclusive story; personal power, that the first to arrive would get the hottest story of the day; and freedom, the ratings of the winning station would be higher, thus bringing in additional local advertising dollars. Finally, the chef and the farmer reinvested their profits from the first night into one additional night. The chef created dishes that in appearance and taste were of the highest quality and were served with excellence. The event was limited to 2 nights, with reserved seating on a first-come, first-reserved basis, which created a feeling of scarcity and generated additional interest. And finally, the chef and the farmer reinvested their profits from the first night into one additional night. Now, the chef continues to create new and amazing dishes and consistently serves only the finest organic food that is served with excellence. The farmer now has a steady new client in the chef, which gives them both mutual public credibility. They have since limited their events to once or twice a year to keep interest peaked and the effectiveness of the events at maximum impact. Now here's the kicker. Neither the chef nor the farmer actually laid out any additional cash for this event that literally transformed both their businesses and their reputations. They just used these basic principles of success, and you can do it too. In case you think you need some special skills to pull something like this off, think again. The chef had never done anything like this before, but he was motivated by the fear of losing his business, his livelihood, and possibly his home. So much so, in fact, that he was willing to step out of his comfort zone and try something he'd never done before to save his business and turn his life around. You can do this too. It is so much easier than you might think. How can you use these same techniques in your business to create an event that could transform your business and your life? Always provide high-quality products and services. I have contacts with business owners outside the United States pretty much on a daily basis, and for quite some time now, America unfortunately has not been known for creating and manufacturing high-quality items. Yet, we as American consumers demand, crave, search for items and services of the best quality and value. We are also more than ready to pay for them. If you have any doubts, just check out the prices of a fine German automobile, Japanese technology, French handbags and cosmetics, or Italian men's suits. We as consumers crave quality. Quality products and services make us as consumers feel confident and successful. We feel a certain sense of accomplishment by owning a product or receiving a service of high quality. In fact, it makes us feel so good that we as consumers will want to re-experience that feeling at our next opportunity. If we can get that high-quality product or service at what we perceive as a good value, the feeling is only intensified. Knowing this is your golden opportunity for success. Even as I'm saying this, I can hear some of you replying, but I don't sell high-end products or services. No matter what type or size of business you have, providing high-quality products or services at a good value is essential to growing your customer base and generating repeat customers. That doesn't mean that your product or services automatically have to be high-priced. Let me give you a personal example of what I mean. As any parent of small children can tell you, there is little time for anything, and for me that included time at my usual salon getting my hair done. The most I could do was a quick trim across the bottom at one of those walk-in places next to the grocery store. Now, as it happens, it had been quite a while since my last trim, and my little one was asleep in the carrier, so after picking up a few groceries, I stopped in for a quick trim. Now, for the record, this was the first time I'd been to this particular place, and as it turns out, it would be my last. I was quickly seated and then moved to another chair, where my hair was wetted down, nearly drowning me in the process. No shampoo or conditioner, just wetted down. I was then moved back to the original chair and had my head snapped forward as she began to snip the back. After what seemed like maybe no more than 5 or 10 minutes, my stylist left. After several minutes, I dared move my head and looked up to see her in the reflection in the mirror cutting a man's hair in the chair behind me. I removed the drape from my shoulders, collected my things, and headed for the door. She left the gentleman she was cutting and pushed herself in behind the cash register and handed me a receipt that doubled as a bill for her services. As she laid it before me, she took a red pen and circled the section that read tip and then looked at me with a smile. I handed her the exact amount for the cut and left. A few months later, I was ready for another trim, and as circumstances would have it, I found myself in front of another one of those walk-in type hair salons. I have to say, after my last experience, it took real courage just to walk through those doors, even though this was a different salon that was independently owned. If I had not been in such a time crunch, I most likely would not have even gone in. Yet when I did, the difference was noticeable on my first instant. I was greeted as I came in the door. A smiling face behind the counter asked what I needed that day, and noticing my hairstyle and my sleeping child in her carrier, asked if I wanted a full style or just a quick trim. A trim, was my reply, and then I braced myself for what might come next. A hairstylist in broken English and a lovely smile approached the woman behind the counter for her next assignment, which happened to be me. She came over to shake my hand and introduced herself. I began to feel my guard relax just a little. As I talked over the details of what I would like to have done, the stylist began to massage my neck and scalp. "You very tense. Too much worry. Not enough sleep. All good mothers like that. You want tea? I get you tea." Then with a light pat on my shoulder, she proclaimed, "You need good cup of tea. I'll be right back." Within just a moment, she reappeared and handed me a mug of slightly sweetened tea that smelled and tasted like heaven. She said something to another stylist in her native tongue, and a young lady suddenly appeared standing next to my baby carrier and smiling in gently. "She stay with baby while I shampoo hair, okay?" Then, showing me that I would still be within clear eyesight of my child, I settled in for what can only be described as the most relaxing 10 minutes I had in months. Returning to my chair and my child, I began to feel relaxed and re-energized. With cheery precision, my hair was cut, blown dry, and styled. When the final result was revealed, I felt and looked like a new woman. As I headed towards the front desk to pay my bill, I wondered what that day's pampering was going to cost me, and in the next instant decided I didn't care. The experience and how I felt at that moment was worth the price no matter the cost. As I waited in line to pay my bill, my stylist touched my arm, and in almost a whisper she said, "Your hair a little dry. It's okay. Happens to all mothers. You take this and try. You like, come back and buy more." Then she gifted me with 2 small bottles of their premium shampoo and conditioner. "I see you again in 6 weeks, okay?" She waved as she went to greet her next client. When it was my turn to pay, I was handed a familiar receipt. The smiling woman behind the desk complimented my new hairdo and agreed with how good it felt when after one gets their hair done. "Did you enjoy your experience?" she asked. After affirming that I had, she offered to book my next appointment while I was still there, and that they would be happy to send me a reminder email or a phone call a couple of days in advance if I would like. I have to confess, by this time I was stunned by the difference between the 2 salons and the experiences I had. When it came time to fill in the blank on the receipt for the tip, I was only too happy to add 20% to my bill, which was exactly the same amount as the former walk-in place. I have returned many times and recommended the salon to several of my friends who are also mothers on tight schedules. Quality can come in all different forms and price ranges. The key to developing growth in your business and repeat customers is consistency. Quality and consistency must be the standard of how you do business. Your customers must feel valued during their experience at your place of business and with your staff. Offer gifts to your customers as a way to introduce them to new products and services. Provide extra services that are meaningful to your clients and enhance their experience with you and your place of business. Before your customer leaves, offer opportunities that will motivate them to return to your place of business for additional products and services. As you viewed this video, I hope that you've begun to imagine how you can implement these simple steps to cultivate your repeat customers and continue to grow your business and new customer base. Take each step and picture it in your mind. Then one step at a time, begin to implement them into your business practices and watch your business grow in a corresponding fashion. Remember, high quality and value offered consistently are the golden twins of success.